Trucker Dump for April 16th, 2011, episode 66. Truckers Go Turtle Racing.
Welcome to Trucker Dump, where you'll get one driver's insights and sometimes humorous views of truck driving and the trucking industry, and pretty much anything else he feels like dumping on you. This podcast is brought to you by AboutTruckDriving.com. Resources to help you understand the world of truck driving through the use of stories and a pathetic attempt at humor.
Cowabunga, dudes! Todd McCann here. Okay, I have to admit it. I'm more than a little bit pleased with this post. I love the subject matter, the humor, the way it was written, the lesson, the plea for help, and even the picture that's posted on the blog. Sorry, you podcast listeners don't get that here. You'll have to go over to AboutTruckDriving.com and find the post. It's nothing special, I just like it. Well, I think I've patted myself on the back enough for now. Although I may continue to tell myself how awesome I am when I'm done recording here. Hey, someone's got to do it. I plead that all you truckers and four-wheeler drivers will keep this podcast in mind when you're out on the road. So without further ado, I bring you Truckers Go Turtle Racing. Turtles are cool. If I see one trying to cross the road, I'm the kind of guy that'll pull over and carry him across the road to safety. That is, unless it's one of those teenage mutant ninja turtles. If I see one of them in the road, I'm going to stick out my tongue, close one eye, take aim, and hit the accelerator. Man, those dudes are annoying. So why would I go out of my way to help a turtle cross the road? Well, like I said, they're cool. But it's also because the evil overlord likes that about me. What can I say? I'm a sweetie. Still, the main reason is simply because he's so freaking slow. By the way, I do always assume it's a male turtle crossing the road. My thinking is that the only thing that can make a turtle jump out into traffic is a lady turtle batting her eyes and wiggling her sexy little tail around. So anyway, why all the talk about turtles? Well, because the trucking industry has its own version of turtles. Only no one likes them. I'm talking about speed-limited trucks. Specifically, I'm talking about two speed-limited trucks trying to pass each other out on the highway. You know, turtle racing. Whether your vehicle has 18 wheels or 4, we've all experienced a turtle race. You're tooling along in the fast lane when some trucker jumps out in front of you. You calmly slow down and follow while this truck slowly creeps up and passes a slightly slower truck. I assume you were calm, right? I mean, it only took 5 minutes for Dill Munch number 1 to pass Dill Munch number 2. Notice that I called both of these drivers Dill Munch. Besides the fact that I have no earthly idea what a Dill Munch is, I still say the turtle race was both these drivers' faults. It takes two to do the tango, and it takes two to race. If you were to ask most drivers whose fault it is, they'd blame the guy trying to pass. I agree, and I disagree. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Say my truck will go a mind-blowing warp speed of 65 miles an hour. I'm coming up on a truck going 64 miles an hour. Sure, I could tap my brake, lower my cruise control, and stare at his trailer doors all day. After all, I am looking pretty smoking in those reflective doors. But why should I have to slow down because my truck is faster than his? Wouldn't it make more sense to let the faster truck get on with his business? The thing is, it takes two drivers with common sense, professional attitudes, and the willingness to put themselves in the other driver's shoes. Those are three attributes that are sorely missing in today's trucking industry. Nowadays, everyone is out for themselves. Drivers can't be bothered to let you go around them before they take 10 minutes to back into a wide-open parking spot. The same guys don't have a second thought about butting in line to get to the shipping clerk's window. Nor do they mind parking in front of the fuel bay while they mosey into the truck stop, stand in line to get their fuel receipt, take a dump, fill up their thermos, and grab some to-go food, hopefully in that order. These are the same drivers who see the faster truck coming up behind them. They're the drivers who see you in their mirror as you pull out to pass. The same jerk who can see the traffic stacking up behind you. The worthless puddle of dog vomit that refuses to tap his brakes, even though he can clearly see you're going to pass him eventually. Here's how I try to deal with this. First, I give the driver the benefit of the doubt, trusting that as soon as he notices me, he'll let me around. Hey, it could happen. Once I've got his beady little eyes looking at me in his mirror, I wait a few seconds to see if he's going to back out of it. If he doesn't, I resort to a drastic step. Well, it is for me anyway. I break out the official communication device of hell, otherwise known as the CB radio. Again, I'll be nice at first. Maybe he's into a good audiobook and the situation just hasn't registered in his puny little brain. I'll key up the mic and say in a friendly voice, "Hey driver, how about a little driver courtesy here?" Sometimes that works. Other times the guy doesn't have his CB turned on. Can't say as I blame him for that. Still, other times, you know you got a real winner on your hands when he picks up the mic and says, "If you can't pass me faster than that, it's not my problem." Oh my, what do you do with a guy like this? That's when I take a deep, calming breath and explain to him that we as drivers are never going to get respect and cooperation from the public if we can't even get it from our fellow drivers. I'm often filled with awe from their insightful comeback, something truly wise like, "Shut up, stupid." This is what we're dealing with out here. All this could be avoided if drivers just had a little common courtesy towards each other. Instead, we're all faced with turtle racing every day. And as for you four-wheelers, don't think you're exempt either. The only thing more frustrating than being stuck behind turtle racing trucks is to be stuck behind turtle racing four-wheelers. For the love of Pete, folks, trust me on this. It's okay to turn your cruise control off. The car manufacturers have thoroughly tested these devices. You're not going to break anything. Except for my forehead, which is decisively bashing into my steering wheel with a head-banging force usually reserved for Slayer songs. So here's my plea to all drivers. Just get off the road and let me do my job. Okay, I guess that's a bit impractical. So practically, let's do this. First, keep your eyes open and pay attention. The key to avoiding turtle racing is knowing when it's actually happening and then doing whatever it takes to help the situation. If you need to instigate a turtle race, wait until most of the traffic behind you is cleared. If traffic is heavy and you're going to be holding people up, just tap your brakes and follow the slowpoke until traffic thins. Then mount your attack. If you're the slower driver, be a sport. Tap your brakes and let the other driver around. It's not like you're approaching 88 miles per hour and if you don't reach it in time, you'll be stuck in the past or future. If you're the faster driver, use the CB to politely ask if the dimwit will let you around. My suggestion would be to not use the term dimwit when addressing said dimwit. If the slower driver ignores you, or worse, laughs at you, feel free to wave at him as you drive past his window. I leave the amount of fingers you use entirely up to you. If you're the faster driver and Captain Slow-Mo just won't let you around, even after multiple attempts, be the bigger man or woman. Back out of it, get behind him, and let the backed up traffic go on their merry little unspeed-limited way. Now for the final and most important step, concentrate hard and wish for the next toilet seats he visits to be infested with crabs. Now, don't you feel better?
Hey, yo, bud, where do you want this load of feedback?
Onward to today's feedback, which was on the last podcast called All E-Logs Aren't Created Equal. Let's start out with someone who I think is a new commenter. His name's Steve. He says, "I have E-Logs too, but I can edit from the truck anything but driving. So if I do accidentally stay on duty, I can edit it back to off duty or sleeper as long as I have not approved that day's logs. We're using the Qualcomm logs. That's a particular brand of E-Logs. I'm using the PeopleNet system. And Steve, I've figured out from talking to other drivers and my safety director that all E-Log devices are capable of letting the driver edit them. It's all in the way they're set up by the company. My safety director flat out told me that they asked the E-Log provider to set them up in compliance with the DOT's wish list. Their wish list includes having nothing editable by the driver. And that's exactly what we got. If I call the regular Joes in the safety department, they can change some things, but other things have to be approved and changed by the safety director himself. My last call with him, he said, "As long as I work here, the E-Logs will stay the way they are." So I have that to look forward to. Well, thanks for stopping in and leaving a comment, Steve. Kat says, "Hey, mate, thanks heaps for this. Some trucking peeps I know over here were wondering how the system worked. Cheers." Well, cheers to you, Kat. Keep in mind that this is just how my company's E-Logs are set up. I hate them here. If you ever get them, they may be fine. Now, talking to many of my friends who have E-Logs too, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I don't think I'd mind e-logs so much if I could edit them like they can. As I just mentioned to Steve, though, my safety director recently informed me that as long as he worked there, our system will never be editable by the driver. I really would quit tomorrow if I weren't positive that this is going to be my last truck driving job, and I see the end in sight. I appreciate you leaving a comment, Kat. Here's hoping that you're on paper logs for a long time to come. Virgil Gray says, was that a new commenter? I think it is. If it is, well, welcome, Virgil. He says, there are always ways around that. You know, Virgil, everyone says that, but unless I turn into a software engineer overnight, I think I'm screwed. Because the second I unhook something, bam, they know it immediately. And oh yeah, I'm going to have to break into the e-log provider's headquarters to do that software thing too. I guess that's kind of cool. I've always wanted to try the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible trapeze thingy. And lastly, Pam says, not sure I understand all about e-logs, but your description of yourself in the opening sure had me laughing. I'm guessing she's talking about that being the statement where I was talking about being as dangerous as an incest retarded cat who was asleep. Anyway, she says, maybe get one of those dog collars that works with a wireless fence. Set it up so if you get too far from behind the wheel, it'll go off and then you can remember to push the button. I know, fabulous idea. I'm sure you can Google to get a coupon for that setup too. Drive safe. Well, you were right, Pam. I use Google to get a great deal on my wireless dog fence through Amazon. I bought it and my e-log problems are fixed. Problem is, I keep wetting myself. Well, y'all, thanks for your comments again. I love getting them. I love getting these comments and being able to read them on air. So, thanks a lot and keep them coming. If you've got questions or comments or concerns or anything else, or just want to say, hey, here's how to do it. So what do you think? I'm sure you're not nearly as impressed with me as I am. Still, I'd love to get your thoughts on this subject. Am I totally off base thinking the slower drivers should let the faster guy around? Maybe you've got some tricks of your own. Let us all know by typing turtle racing into the search bar at abouttruckdriving.com, finding a blog post, and leaving your comment. Or if you'd prefer, you can shoot your comments, questions, and suggestions to truckerdump@gmail.com. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and say hi. I'm Todd McCann over there. That's 2 D's, 2 C's, and 2 N's. And thanks for listening to the podcast. I do really appreciate it. So until next time, drive safe and stay out of my way. Especially you turtle racers.